Hi, welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News. I'm Robin Stienberg, and welcome to the Assignment Review. Today we have a very distinguished artist who is here in Singapore right now, and she's none other than Miss Fabienne Verdier, and she is a very distinguished contemporary Chinese art calligraphy, and she actually specialized in ancient Chinese calligraphy actually, and studied in China. Not bad for a French woman. And today we're going to ask her more about her views and insights, and her art, in fact, is now displayed at Art Plural Gallery in Singapore. And yes, that's right, it is now on for exhibition as from in January the 22nd, from the 25th.
From the 25th
Okay.
Because for the public it's from the 25th until the 9th of March.
Okay, we'll correct again one more time. Sorry, this is the second take. Hi, welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News, and welcome to the Steinberg Review. And I'm Robin Stienberg, and welcome to my show again. And today we have a very distinguished artist who is now here in Singapore, and her works now displayed at Art Plural Gallery. And you know what? It will be displayed from January the 25th right through sometime early February, March. Pardon me. And she's none other than Miss Fabienne Verdier. She's right here with me, and she's gone to China to study ancient art calligraphy. And she's an expert in it today, and she's going to tell us more about her experience as an artist. And yeah, so please do join me with her right now. Miss Fabienne, thank you for joining me here in Singapore.
Thank you.
With the National Critics' Choice, and also with your showcase works right here, which is known as Energy,
Yes.
right now over at Art Plural Gallery. What makes you choose Art Plural Gallery?
But I met the director of the gallery, Mr. Senaclan, and I was very impressed that the creation is this amazing gallery, in Singapore. And he invited me to expose my recent work, and I was very interesting to come here because I learned during 10 years of my life Chinese philosophy, aesthetic, calligraphy, and painting, and after 30 years work and research, I think maybe it's a good idea to come back in Asia and show to the people my recent research with a little bit maturation with it between Asia and Occidental.
Amazing, and you also could speak Chinese, so 你可以说讲外语。
当然，但是可能从1992年我就没有机会讲话了，但是我能讲一点普通话，然后我学的四川美术学院，所以我的四川话也有一点可以。
Amazing, please congratulate Miss Fabienne for her good Chinese literacy. I'm ashamed myself.
No.
I wish I could speak well in Chinese.
你不要这样，我的名字是法国的法，比较的比周恩来的恩比恩，所以对你来说好一点。
Good. Now tell us, how do you get your inspiration, energy in this painting? How did it came about?
And my Chinese master is Huang Lao Shi, Huang Yuan. He learned me during a long years, 10 years study apprenticeship, and he just teach me how to draw one brushstroke, and how in this brushstroke there is some energy, there is some spiritual, there is some the movement of the life, the essence of the life. So yes, it took long years to practice that and to express. Everything is in transformation. Everything is in movement. So I try to show this essential thing of the the universe.
Amazing. Now, do you believe in destiny?
In destiny, sure.
Yes.
He's our great master.
And why do you say so?
Why do you say that? It's my intuition.
Because I saw that you even design your own brushes.
Yeah.
You custom made the brush.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you this: what inspired you in the area of Chinese calligraphy?
This is in our European tradition way of painting, act of painting, like with Cézanne or our great master, Monet or Matisse. They just paint with easel on nature and with a small brush like that. And the Asian and Chinese way of art and painting is in vertically, and you play your art and painting in vertically, and you play with the gravity, with the fundamental force. And I think the great invention of this Chinese tradition thing is the brushstroke who appears on your paper, on your canvas. The form of the brushstroke is in a total harmony with the form of the natural things. So I thought that it's a great invention, and I pass all my life and I devote my life in this idea and try to invent a new language. And I created a special studio near Paris, a big one, and I create myself a new brush, and more big, because in China I began with a small brush like a student, and then now my brushes is near. I create the last one with 25 horse, the cultural heels, yes, 25. Looks very big. Oh, but
yes.
Maybe
it is a very big brush.
Yes, maybe you see this picture.
Oh yes.
And I transform my brush stroke. I cut the wood cable, yes, and it's so heavy because now it's near 70 kilos or 80 kilos. So I invent a new system, yes, to be free on the space, and one day I'm not completely totally free with such a mass of, and I cut the wood, the traditional wood thing, and I put it my bicycle handle. I don't know how to say,
The handles.
Yes. And then I discover amazing thing that I'm really much more free, and I have the total mastery of the space. So this is a new way I invent.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So folks, Painting Space by Miss Fabienne Verdier is now available here at Appluro, Singapore, and this book is available at your disposal. And please come by and visit her. Miss Fabienne, how long has it taken you to master the art of Asian Chinese calligraphy? How long did it take you to learn?
When I met the old master Huang Yuan, at the very beginning, he never wanted to teach me. He said, "You are a foreigner, you are a woman, and it's impossible for you to master that Asian tradition. It's too complicated and it's far distant from Occidental and aesthetic thought and philosophy." So I insist during the long months, and I put some my own exercise on his door every morning. And the old master, after 1 month, second month, 3 months, he continued to refuse it. And after several months, one day he knocked on the door, and I said, "Oh, you are Master Huang?" He said, "Yes." Okay, I'm agree to teach you because on your exercise I feel that there is something, you have some view, you have some intuition, and maybe I should teach you the traditional thing, but it will take 10 years to teach you the essential basic thing of Chinese traditional things. So you are agree to be my student during 10 years, or I refuse. I said, at that time I had just 22, and I said, okay, I accept. So from 22, all my young time, to 32, I was in China to learn with him the traditional thing.
And for 10 years, you managed to learn Chinese as well.
Yes.
Amazing.
And other difficulties is I learned a little bit the Mandarin speaking, but it just spoke at that time in Sichuanese. So I have to learn the Sichuanese dialect.
So Chinese dialect, that's one language I will never master. You know, but
you can start the money.
So, Ms. Fabienne, folks, for those who do not know, please come by to the Art Lure Gallery. Her works are on display from January 25th right through March. And if you have any questions, do look up at their website. Ms. Fabienne, another question is that while you were learning Chinese, ancient Chinese calligraphy, you know, what was your biggest challenge? Was it to able to handle anger management, because sometimes you could get frustrated with your master or angry, or your master is angry with you, or
but
was it?
You know, he was a sort of Taoist master, so his teaching was very complicated at the very beginning for me, because he said nothing. He let me.
He said nothing for how long?
A long time. and before even to learn how to move the brush, he said I should learn how to live. How about my connection with the universe? My contemplative attitude wasn't good, you know, because I am an Occidental woman. And for example, when we go to the sacred mountain, you know, we have a trip and we have to learn from the natural, fantastic place. And I have my European habit, and I have a sketchbook, and immediately in front of the mountain I want to sketch a mountain, like Cézanne with the mountains and Victoire. And he often laughed at me. He said, but what are you doing? I said, but I sketch the mountain because I'm in front of the mountain. He said, but you understand nothing about art, nothing about the real art. So please, you should forget all your culture if you want to approach the Asiatic thought of painting. And what is the real art? What's the essence of art? I said, how I can paint this mountain? And said, please be connected with the mountain and forget anything, and all your sense, all your perception, all your soul should be connected with the universe around you. And then one day you come back to the Sichuan Museum University, and one day you feel the memories, you have a transformation in your soul, in your heart, and you have some kind of memories, and suddenly you have the inspiration arrive, and the thing who arrive on your paper, on your canvas, is your own poetic approach of this representation of the mountain. And this is the real poetic imaginary, this is the real art. So I have to forget everything about my own culture to practice a sort of deep philosophy approach of Chinese culture. Since and this practice during 10 years time, yes. And from some aspect, it was very, very difficult for me to forget everything, even to forget who I am. And sometimes I have deep, because I was very lonely, you know, 1982, 83 in China. It very, very hard time for me. You know, I was a poor student, and I was the only foreigner in all the university, and I was a woman, so a lot of people laugh at me, all the students laugh at me because I study traditional things, because I often learn during months the same brushstroke, and my old master never want I immediately paint a landscape, or he just want I re-begin the one brushstroke, because he says this is the essence of the world. If you don't understand how to interpret this unique brushstroke, it's not no use to continue to paint. So if in this brushstroke there is not a spiritual thing, if there is not a structure, if there is not the blood in it, you know, if we cannot feel the movement of the life, we stop it. It's not used to. So during a year, and maybe there is 30 years now, I continue to try to put some life on my brushstroke.
It is.
Yes.
I will find. Now, how old was your master when you met him at that time? Was he a very old man?
Yes, he was a very old man, and he was very completely disconnected from the society and very solitary. You know, all the great master and the scholar master at that time lived in very solitary, and even with his wife and with his children, he was in very, you know, after the Cultural Revolution, all these scholar man has a very hard time. And when I knock on the door, even his son do not understand him. So he said, but everyone in this art school learn Occidental painting now. And at that time, when I want to learn the traditional things, there is no course, you know, there is no teacher for that. So, and all the young student laughed at me and told me at that time, but why you study Chinese tradition? This is their sculpture, you know. We should learn Occidental things, and they learn at that time. So it was very difficult for me. But I immediately found in this old master the great and deep humanity, another sort of humanity, you know, another sort of yes. And by my intuition, I know that I have to learn a lot from him.
How do you manage to learn Mandarin? You studied Sichuan Chinese.
Yes.
How do you manage to learn? Did you?
When I was in France.
In China.
In China.
How do you manage to speak Chinese?
Because at the very beginning, the official people do not want to teach me Chinese. They often want I have English translator, because they are not very agree that I have a connection with the student. You know, they don't want I'm too close to the student. So the first 2-3 years I was completely lonely in a socialist party bureau, and it was very hard for me at that time. So I learned by myself with a dictionary, and every night. In addition to all my courses, traditional courses, I learned by myself.
Amazing. Now, what is your philosophy of art today?
Oh, this is a huge question. And you know, we haven't the same idea in Asia and Occidental. So it's difficult for me because I am in the junction of the two, and I am a sort of pioneer in that way. So once a contemporary art, there is I have my own unique way to think about that. And I learn with my own master a sort of humility, modesty, and so I cannot, I am not in the way of contemporary art, very official one, you know. I have my own little path, yes, it's difficult to say. I think it's stupid to think contemporary art, you know. Marguerite Yourcenar, our Greek writer, said contemporary art. Contemporary, what's the meaning of contemporary? Because in near future it's already past.
After 10 years of learning from your master, you know, what was your biggest challenge? Was your biggest challenge in facing what to do next, the fear of your future, or you know, or was it able to find your true self? Have you found your true self after 10 years?
After 10 years, not. Because after 10 years, it's just the time to express and to understand the Chinese culture and to be a good interpreter of Chinese culture. But after, I have to go back France and to do another work that means to reconnect with European and Occidental art. And it was amazing thing happened at that time, because when I go back to France, I didn't look at our art in the same way as before. You know, my eyes and my perception and my intuition and my approach of art is completely different because I'm another.
So art becomes spiritual to you?
Yes, really, completely spiritual. But you know, and before coming to China, I have I love some abstract painter, and then after the apprenticeship during 10 years, I see differently our contemporary art and I approach the painting differently with.
Now, Ms. Fabienne, tell me, what is Chinese culture? You came back from China. Well, what is Chinese culture to you now, today?
Your question is it's a huge Chinese culture.
Yeah, because your influence, your work is influenced from your Chinese master, and many Chinese will wonder what is Chinese culture today to you after you spent 10 years.
It's a huge thing, you know, and it's difficult to answer you with just a few words.
Well, you take your time.
It's with few words it's impossible, but it led, how to say, maybe he helped me to, you know, in Occident you have the human being and the universe, and the human being think he has a high idea of it himself. But Chinese culture learned to me that human being and universe is one.
Wow.
Yes.
To you.
This took a long time for me to understand that. So this is very important. That means there is no difference between me, the trees, the landscape, the flowing wind, and we are all element of the nature. And this is a great help for me to approach art and how to show to the people, to express. In Chinese, we say the qi, you know, the breathing of the breath of the room. Yes, Chinese culture teach me how to represent the breath of the wall with the chi, this energy, yes.
Amazing. And folks, please come by to Upload Gallery here in Singapore and to view her work from January the 25th through March, and especially Energy that I just mentioned is amazing work. And before we sign off, Miss Fabienne, there's one other question that people would like to know, and that is, what advice would you give for aspiring artists like yourself? Do you have three key advice would you give?
A three key for what?
Advice for aspiring artists.
For the
Aspiring artists like yourself.
Three key.
Yes.
If you want to be an artist, I think you have to retreat from the society a little time and reconnect with the contemplative attitude. Is, I think, the best way to express to the people something true, something the sublime of natural way of the thing. This is already an important key. I don't know. Second key, practice. We should practice every day, and forget maybe who you are. Because in contemporary art, most of the artists are very proud of themselves, and I'm a great creator and something like that. But I'm not sure the real art needs that kind of thing. So we have to accept to be nothing, not a little dot in the universe. And when you have this attitude, maybe something happens, something true appears. And the third key, I think art do not need to express the terrible thing. The people need joy, they need beauty, they need, and most of in contemporary art, a lot of people express the sad and the bad thing of the human being, and when we thought that we think that we feel unwell, and I hope and I think art should show and express and help the people to live and to feel well and to be in contemplative attitude and to be happy. So maybe it's the third key.
I have one last question for you, and that's from our readers or from the online news. That is, as a woman, how did you face fear after you have come out from your studies, with Film Master, and face life, in a new chapter? How do you overcome fear? Because you said you believe in destiny,
yes.
And destiny is important. How do you overcome that, and how did you cultivate that this is your destiny?
I didn't cultivate I believe on my destiny.
Well, thank you, Ms. Fabienne, for joining us here at the National People's Choice.
Thank you.
This time.
Great interest.
And folks, my viewers and my readers, thank you for joining me here. I'm Robin Stienberg, and I wish to thank Upload Gallery for assistance in providing the opportunity to have Ms. Fabienne here on our show. And please do come by to our gallery here in Singapore, which begins their exhibition from January the 25th all the way through March. And also do catch hold of her book, this wonderful book on her life, Ms. Fabienne.
And we will have also a great catalog from the Upload Gallery.
That's right, there you go. 2 in 1. So once again, thank you for joining me. I'm Robin Stienberg here at the National People's Choice, the Stienberg Review. Have a great week ahead.